Welcome to the Prime Health Podcast with your host, Dr. Derek Barron. Dr. Barron interviews doctors, wellness experts, and healthcare leaders who are revolutionizing how we approach health and longevity. The Prime Health Podcast explores breakthrough science, personal and patient stories, and practical insights that are shaping the future of health and wellness. So sit back, listen in, and prepare to transform how you think about your path towards Prime Health with Dr. Barron and his special guest.
Welcome back to the Prime Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Derek Barron, and I'm here to bring you cutting-edge insights and practical strategies from leading healthcare experts from your journey to Prime Health in life and business. Now imagine doubling your revenue without spending another dollar on ads. Today's guest, Rebecca Cramer, built a high-performance sales and communications team that helps med spas do exactly that by fixing their biggest blind spot, which is patient communication. Now, before we jump in and talk and learn a lot about that information from Rebecca, just a quick note from our sponsor, Grow Solutions, where health and wellness professionals discover how to double their impact and income without doubling their workload. So we try and do the very best to eliminate some of the biggest headaches in your practice, whether that's generating new patients or leads, whatever you may do. If you've got operational chaos, we've got proven systems and frameworks that can help with this. And yes, we help you implement AI and agents into your business because they are coming whether you like it or not. We are not an agency or a vendor. We are your growth partner. So if you've ever said this to yourself, I'm too busy to grow, too slow to scale, or too overwhelmed to fix it, we could be your growth partner. Just drop the word grow below or feel free to reach out to me on any social platform. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. But you're here for a reason. That's to hear from Rebecca. So Rebecca, again, welcome to the Prime Health Podcast, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you so much for having me. So what I do, I'm the CEO of Med Spa Communications, and I also host a weekly, it's a video call on school.com. The group there is Book More Patients. So what we do at Med Spa Communications, I help med spas convert and book more patients. You know, most med spas have a challenge. One of their biggest challenges, getting patients booked in and getting them to show up and buy. And that's what my team helps them do.
Love to hear it. It is very important. It's easy to throw money at ads. It's tremendously easy to lose money on ads or anything that you do if you don't have the right staff in place. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about how you do that for your clients and future clients as well. So was there something that happened in your past that you did, maybe when you were growing up as a young little girl, that you said, I want to get into the med spa business? But was there something that happened along the way that said, what, this is the direction I want to go into the med spa industry?
Beauty, health, it's always been interesting to me. Absolutely. When it comes to why did I do this? Why did I get into med spas? It fell into my lap a little bit. We already had this, when I say we, myself and my husband, we already had this type of service where we were providing virtual receptionists, lead follow-up for small business owners. And, med spas do really interest me. And the fact I'm a consumer, right? Okay. For sure. I'm a consumer. So it's a topic that interests me. And because I've grown, since being young and, knocking on doors, trying to fundraise for sports or fundraise for activities, sales has always been a big part of my life. So being able to help med spas with their sales and with getting people booked in, communicating with their clients, their patients, it's definitely interesting and exciting for me to be able to do that.
Yeah. I like how you bring back to when you were younger and you were in school and you were door knocking, and, even my son in college, he's still trying to raise money for his lacrosse team. So it never ends. That's for the fun stuff. Even though work is supposed to be fun, we still have to go and do that for ourselves. So I'm glad that you're able to help with that. So I shouldn't say there is. I think there is a large misconception about people that say, you know what, I can handle it on my own. My front desk is great. What's the misconception that you can do it on your own versus hiring a team of setters for your practice, for your med spa?
So absolutely, you can, you could do it on your own, just the same way that you can cook your own supper, just the same way that you can, dye your own hair, just the same way you can do many things on your own. Are you an expert at doing it? Maybe, maybe not. When it comes to what we do, we train daily,
Hmm.
like frequently. And not only that, but we study what happens on calls and why our agents are successful or not successful, and why our clients are successful or not successful when they're answering calls, when they have patients walking in the door. How frustrating is it for you to walk into a place of business and have them be on the phone and ask you to hold on when you're literally there to buy from them?
Yeah.
It's so important that business owners and their staff and their team be available to the people who are walking through their door with money in their hand, wanting to invest. And just like if AI is important, it's something that's we're seeing more and more frequently now. So I think people are becoming more aware of the fact that they need to be responsive. People expect that you be available. And if you're not, because you have a feeling or because you have the perception that you could just call them back or that you could call them later, it's not a reality. We live in an Amazon world now. People want instant.
Mm. Unfortunately, they do. For us wanting it for ourselves when it works out, of course we want it to work, but in other areas it's hard. And you brought up a great point, Rebecca, in the fact that it's never fun if, like, I'm older. When I was younger and I would go to cash my check at the bank to get the money, and they were like, just hold on a second, and they would go and handle something that there's just that little bit that would, infuriate you. In a med spa, there's really a purpose of going into that, and it's to be taken care of, and it's a spa. You should be taken care of immediately. So having your front desk people manning or womaning the phones, if you wish, and not being able to handle that person that's going to, pull out their checkbook, their cash, their Bitcoin, whatever it is. So I think that's a great point in what you are helping them get over the fact to build the trust in their current clients and building it for new ones.
Exactly. And it affects so many things. It affects sales because they're in front of you. They are the ones that have the dollars in their pocket, the dollars in their hand that want to potentially do business with you. But that experience that someone has, we know, and there's statistics, I didn't bring them, but the more reviews that a med spa has, the more volume, the higher the volume of phone calls. So if you think about that, and people, when it comes to reviews, like especially with med spas, the treatment, the results you might not see right away. So that impact, that experience that person has when they're inside of your med spa, it needs to be amazing in order for them to write that review, in order for them to book that next appointment when they don't even know what their results are yet. They just know their experience. And so not providing them with that amazing experience that they can count on, that they can talk about, it's just not ideal.
Yeah, very true. Reviews are important. Most people are searching. 70+% is on a mobile device. They're searching for a med spa near me. It pulls up. If you're in the maps listings and you don't have as many reviews as your competitor, it's going to hurt you. And the way that's hurting is, I'm going into a spa. I want to have a conversation, and you put me on hold, or you make me wait for something else. And granted, if you've got 3 women or whomever the receptionists are up front, they're all busy handling with somebody, that's understandable. But not if, you're the only one there, you've got to grab the phone. So I know that your staff probably does a great job in compensating for those issues that are there. So I guess I would ask you, how have you built a high performance culture inside a team so they are consistently able to convert leads and book patients at a high level?
Yeah. The interesting thing, whatever I have on the list of things that we do to be successful for our clients, it all goes back to being consistent with something.
Mm.
Consistency is truly the biggest thing that helps us be successful. Whether it's consistency with our training, our agents we train on Cardone University. So Cardone University is like a sales and customer service platform. So the agents train on that. We role play every day. We do agreement drills. Do you know what an agreement drill is?
Tell me what that is. Yeah, if you don't mind sharing.
So, and it's interesting because we even suggest, if you're struggling with this, to try it at home. It's even more challenging at home.
So is this something I could work on with my wife? I would want her to agree with something. Okay, I'll try it.
So if you think about it, if you are in a sales, any conversation, honestly, life is sales, right?
Yes.
If you're not the one selling, you're the one being sold to. So if you're in a sales call, a phone call, and you're telling someone, no, I can't, or, as soon as you start to tell someone no, they start to get their back up or feel as though you're not able to help them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can agree with them, not necessarily saying that they're right, but if you're saying yes, that there's more of a positive reaction, more of an opportunity for you to continue to be in conversation versus, the word no or but. These are all really negative words. It's not any sort of psychology at all. I suppose it is a little bit. But the agreement drill is just really understanding the person that you're talking to. Yes, I understand. I agree. I can see where you're coming from. Those types of words it gives the other person the opportunity to understand that you're listening to them and that, there is opportunity to continue the conversation versus negative no, but, it's just less friction.
Yeah. You said a word earlier, and that was consistency. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the other part that you brought up is a big word here is listening. So in order to help in sales, listen to where there's an opening to have a conversation, if that's the case, or just for my wife and I need to listen better. If I listen better, even if she says no, I might be able to work on the agreement standpoint, but still she likes to be heard, and I have to listen in order to do that, which is very good. Yeah.
True.
So,
And then it becomes second nature when you practice. I mean, so we role play and we do the agreement drill, and the more that you practice, the more that you are in the habit of saying these. It's muscle memory, right? It becomes just something that's normal for you to say. So it's super important.
It's probably even better overall for life in general to try and avoid the no's and try and be positive, gratitude, listening, all of that stuff is going to work. And I mean, it has to work with the conversion, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So so not only do we do that daily, we also train. We have like treatment Tuesdays for like unique treatments, and then we have different training sessions throughout the week, as well as we have a coach that we're coached by, and then we have our our management team is also coached and trained. So we're consistent with making sure that not only are we experts at, med spa related everything, but that we actually know how to convert when we have someone on the phone.
Conversion brings up a point, and you said you didn't bring the statistics, so maybe we don't have to come up with a number, but from a statistical perspective, if you wish, how does your team improve the show rates over a typical front desk person that's there?
Yeah. Statistics. So I can give you some examples of, and I'm thinking about, I should have brought those numbers. I apologize. I don't have those numbers. But when it comes to, I can think of, I just got a video review from one of my clients yesterday or the day before, who was telling me, and when I met her, I met her, and when I say I met her, it's virtually, of course. I met her in August, and yes, it was August. And I feel a little bit, I feel a little bit sensitive about this because it's like talking about it with her. It's like emotional. It's life changing. Were like her words when she was talking to us. And it's, so her business was about to go out of business. She was about to have to give up her lease space. She wasn't able to pay rent. She signed up with the last of her dollars, with the hopes, based on the information that we were able to provide for her, that we could get people to actually show up, that we could get leads booked in. And then, that's not the end of it though. Once they show up, you still have to do the thing on, you still have to be the one to make a suggestion for treatment. But she was about to go out of business. She, in September, I think she said that she grew by 45,000 in September, and then another 10, so 55,000 in October, which is huge for a small weight loss clinic, in Washington, that was going to have to shut their doors. And sometimes you're an amazing treatment provider. You're, the best. That doesn't mean that you know how to run the business the way that it should. Not saying that she didn't know that, but sometimes you're an amazing treatment provider and you don't know how to convince people to come in quickly as soon as they call in, or you have leads that you maybe don't call back right away. The most important thing when you get a lead is calling them as soon as, like the goal would be for them to still have their phone in their hand right?
Yeah.
So urgency is super important.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Sorry that it's emotional. It's great for that.
Well, and it's just emotional because her telling the story is like, it changed, it impacted her life significantly. And that, to me, makes me emotional hearing
and
that.
No, I understand, Rebecca, why you're saying that. And it affects you in a positive way. It absolutely affected her in a positive way. And the truth is it's affected probably her clientele if she had them, meaning her staff, but clientele. So it's not just the mom or the dad or whoever came in, but then it's the family circle around it. So it's, when you do good for somebody, you do good for a lot of people. And the truth is, she's a good provider of service of what she does in the office. And mentally, she probably wasn't there because of the stress of handling the calls that were coming in. So you freed that up for her. It allowed her to be in her zone of genius, if you wish, and excel in it, and her staff. So that weight you took off her shoulders by having your amazing team book the calls in allowed her to shine in what she did. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we hear often from patients calling in that their lives have been impacted by the treatment that they're receiving. So I'm grateful that we get to be a part of that,
Yeah, I love that. Now you have said that it's med spas, but then you said weight loss. So can you give us an idea of what are the typical kind of clients that you will work with?
Yeah. So under the med spa umbrella, there's your typical med spa, Botox, filler, everything. But there are also sometimes med spas that specialize, for example, weight loss or IVs or hormones. So there are some med spas that specialize in different unique things or specific.
Okay. So just using the med spa as a title, but when you said, like, you could have just a Medifast weight loss clinic that you're doing that for, an injector clinic, if you wish. Do you like have salons/spas that you can do that for them as well?
Yes, we do have. We absolutely could. Our agents, we even a couple plastic surgeons.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So med spa, I suppose med spa and aesthetic
Okay.
practices.
Understood. Yeah, good. Well, we'll make sure those people that are in that need will hopefully hear and or see this.
Yeah.
From your business perspective, Rebecca, what are you focusing on from a growth or a scaling perspective right now for your own business?
Okay. So last week I had the opportunity to go to a scaling workshop. Um, I follow Alex and Layla Hormozy. We
Mhm.
were able to head out to Las Vegas all the way from Canada to be able to participate in their 2-day workshop, and some really interesting things. You get to learn about bottlenecks for your business. You get to look at risk for your business. I think sometimes we do get a little comfortable, right,
Sure.
with our business, right? If leads are coming in, if things are working great, you know sometimes you just don't think that there's other things that you could be doing differently.
Mhm.
um, I think some of the things that I learned, for example, having data should be automated and clear and concise. Data not being automated means that you have a data risk.
Yeah.
And if I'm being totally honest, not all of our data has been automated. And so that is currently something that we're working on implementing.
Okay.
There's a few things that we learned that it's just like things that for example, sometimes in life, in business, you do something that works, and then it works, so you stop doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so then you wonder why you're in the same scenario that you were in before you stopped doing the thing that was working for you.
Mhm.
Well, if you just start doing that thing again, it's probably going to bring you the same results.
Yeah.
So why not go back to doing that?
Yeah. It's good. So what was the biggest challenge that you took away that says we need to make this change or we need to implement this? What would you say that biggest challenge was as you left there?
Yeah, I the well, two things.
Okay.
The data thing I think is the most urgent for my business, just because it's labor intensive to collect data. It really is.
Mhm.
So if it's automated, then there's not that labor associated with that task. And then social media and being consistent, you know, best known beats best, right?
Okay.
It's true. If people don't know about you, if they don't know about your business, then they can't even know that they should do business with you. So I think social media and being more consistent with that is something that I need to get on top of. I need to take the actions. I need to do the thing.
Okay. Well, you know that you need to do it. It's just like some
Mm-hmm.
things that, as you
Mm-hmm.
said, we have to do. And then when it
Yeah.
gets to be that important, I'm sure that you will attack it on that point in time. So
Yeah.
I know you did share a success story kind of. Is there another one that you would like to share? I'd like to kind of hear about how people may have been struggling prior to working with you. And, after they started with you and your team, it changed their business around.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, thinking I did have another, or I do have another client who I actually took over MedSpa Communications.
Okay.
So MedSpa Communications did come with a few clients when I took it over, and one of the clients, Chicago Med Spa, a typical med spa, so Botox filler, typical med spa solutions, and they were struggling with calling their leads.
Hmm.
They were investing thousands and thousands into Facebook ads, meds or meta ads,
Yeah.
which is it's so common for med spas to know that they have to advertise. They know that they have to advertise, but that's not that's not the last part. The last part is making sure that those ads are successful by calling the leads.
Yeah.
And if I think about myself as a consumer, just because I am interested in something and I get busy, it doesn't mean that I'm not interested, that I'm not still interested in that thing. So for this particular client, they weren't calling their leads back right away. My team calls leads as soon as they come in, and we actually double dial because we know that it bypasses the security on different phones. I'm not sure. iPhones for sure it bypasses,
Okay.
and people see their phone ring twice and they think that it must be important.
Yeah.
They're more likely to answer. So we call leads as soon as they come in. We double dial, and then we follow up twice a day for like up to 7 days. So really making sure that we're connecting with that. It's an opportunity that you've already invested in.
Yep.
And that opportunity already said that they're interested. They already put their hand up. They gave you all the information. So they were struggling because they were investing thousands and thousands of dollars into ads and not seeing any return. Within a month of us starting to work on calling those leads and helping them be successful, they were able to grow their clinic by 25%. They now have 3 clinics, which we support them with. So yeah, it's been great working together with them and seeing them grow. It is really exciting to see, to be able to, we're the front door to their business, right? So it really is exciting to be able to see them grow and to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's a great point you bring up as far as being the front door, like your first point of contact besides an ad, and you have to be impressive on that. They'll put their information in and then the team calls, but that first point of contact is extremely important. No matter if you're going through a drive-through restaurant or fast food, or you're picking up a donut, or you're speaking to somebody from a med spa, that first point of contact is extremely important. And you guys are doing first point of contact fantastic, and speed to lead. You're doing all those things that those companies need, which is great. Yeah. So from your company perspective, I'm sure there's a couple of other businesses out there that may do what you do, but what would you say is the differentiator of Med Spa Communications versus other companies?
Yeah, well, that's a hard word for me right now. The differentiator.
There you go.
The differentiator definitely is, going back to that whole, how we're consistent with making sure that we can be successful training and role playing and going through calls and figuring out how we can be successful. We're not just answering a call to move them to the next stage in that phone call. Our goal when we answer calls, when we call leads, is to get them inside that office. And it's not, just because you book an appointment doesn't mean that someone's going to show up. Asking them, even after you've booked that appointment, asking them why they would show up. Because you know what happens when you ask someone, even after you booked, confirmed why they would show up, they then justify it in their head. It's I guess a way to help them realize, I do want to show up for that appointment. This is really important to me.
Interesting. So do you book initials? Do you do like pre-calls as well? So if they book out for next week, I know you want to book them as soon as you can, but if they book out next week, Thursday, does your company call the night before?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Okay. So for different clients, we do different things. Okay. The ideal scenario would be, yes, to have us book the appointment, to have automation go out as reminders, to still have a humans mixed in with automation and AI. That's the ideal mix, right? Because humans aren't always available. Humans sometimes make mistakes. Sometimes AI makes mistakes. Sometimes.
Right.
But having a combination of both, and then us being able to have that appointment confirmation. Yes, remind people ahead of time. And then another thing that we do that's maybe a little bit unique, I don't know, maybe there's med spas out there that do this on their own, is calling. So if you call the day after an appointment, not to ask how how the results are. You half the time you don't know the results. Maybe you even have bruises at that time, but you're going to remember your experience. So that phone call is an opportunity to do a check-in, to make sure that they're happy with their experience. So specifically, we word those questions geared toward asking that, that question, how was your experience? It's an opportunity to connect with them, to show them that you care, get them booked in for that next appointment, and then ask them for the review.
Love it. And that's via phone call. That's you guys making a call after?
Exactly.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That is spa-like concierge treatment for your spa company. I love to hear that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how is it that if there's somebody that's listening to this, they want to learn more, where would you suggest they would go? We will share all the links in the description, as well as your school link where you do some training on that, as you stated. But where would you like people to learn more about your company?
Yeah, they could go to medspacommunications.com, or they could go probably on Instagram. They could look me up, Rebecca Cramer, and connect with me there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I've got 2 more questions before we go here and let you enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely.
If you could give one piece of advice to anyone that's listening or watching from an overall health perspective, what would that piece of advice be?
Overall health?
Yeah.
It actually relates to exactly what I talked about. Consistency, right? And in life, consistency. If there's something that you want, health, revenue growth, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can be consistent with something, you'll be more successful than probably 95% of the world by just being consistent.
Great answer. Consistency is key to many things. And as you're saying that, business, life, health, relationships, all of that stuff. And the results of you taking some of your clients from, almost closing the doors, being consistent for them, gives them a $45,000 a month, a $55,000 a month. That's true, a testament to being consistent for the businesses that you work with. So that's fantastic. So as we go to wrap up here, Rebecca, I have one last question for you. You are on the Prime Health podcast. What is your personal definition of Prime Health as it pertains to your life?
When it comes to Prime Health in my life, I know there are certain things that I need to do to keep myself and my family healthy. And sometimes it's inconvenient. Sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes, it's just not like I work out. My normal class that I go to is at 5:15 in the morning. And that's a 4:30 a.m. wake up time. And I promise myself, and I commit to myself every night that I'm going to do that the next day. And, I'm the most important person that I need to keep my word to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't do that, I'm letting myself down.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to Prime Health for myself, for my family, for my life, I think keeping my commitment to myself is the most important thing, so that I can follow through and follow up and be healthy.
Yeah. I think that's a fantastic answer. You tied into yourself, you tied in your family, because if you don't have Prime Health in your own life, it's hard to tell other people what they have to do. It affects your family. It bleeds off into your business. It bleeds off into your clients. So I appreciate it. I love asking the question because it's never been duplicated, meaning nobody says the same thing, at least not yet. So that's good. I always appreciate that. So thank you very much for sharing it. And Rebecca, I do want to say thank you very much for being a guest. I love the story that you have shared about how you've kind of fallen into this business, even though you had sales experience from being a high school athlete along the way. It's important. It's important that you talked about consistency with people in life and in business and how you do that. I loved how you were able to share how you've taken some practices and actually done a turnaround with them. People need to understand that there's a reason why there are experts. If, again, that woman that you helped her spa, she's an expert in her zone of genius. You helped her shine there by taking care of the front end of that. So I appreciate you sharing all of that information. And of course, we want you to share this information, whether you are a med spa potential client and you know that your med spa could do a better job on the front desk. Have them watch this or listen to this. If there's one person that you think could benefit from, this, which Rebecca shared from a lifestyle perspective, please do share it. We want the world to hear it, of course, but just one person having a change from what we do here is important. Selfishly, please, of course, sign up for the podcast. We always would love to have more people listening to us and finding other guests. But as I wrap up here, until next time, remember that wellness is a journey we are all on together. Now, whether you are taking care of your own health or helping others in theirs, every step forward matters. So please do stay committed to your Prime Health journey. And again, Rebecca, thank you very much for being a guest on the Prime Health Podcast.